the Democratic convention hasn't even started yet, and there's already controversy. Hacked emails appeared to show that DNC staffers were favoring Hillary Clinton over Bernie Sanders. And it's led to the resignation of the DNC chair, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. Wow.
Yeah. It's
so
big.
What exactly did they see in these emails?
Oh,
what did
all
they
sorts
say?
of things. At one point, one staffer is writing, is Bernie an atheist or is he Jewish? Because
that will matter.
Because that will matter in certain places where there are Southern Baptists. They don't want to, an atheist, an atheist, God forbid.
Right.
So they're writing stuff like that.
But is that normal email stuff? I mean, what do they find that? So how does what do staffers write to each other?
They're supposed the DNC. It's supposed to be impartial, basically. They're supposed to sit back and not take a side. And what this looks like is that there was collusion between Democratic Party operatives and the Hillary Clinton campaign. At one point, you have a lawyer from the Clinton campaign emailing strategy points to them, which is insanity. And what's funny is Bernie Sanders said this all along. In the beginning, he said, I feel like the DNC is against me. I feel like they're siding with Hillary Clinton. And these emails show that's exactly what was happening.
They were. On the other hand, Hillary was always ahead in numbers. She always was going to get the nomination.
And
because she had more votes.
I think that's the point. I mean, the DNC didn't vote, right? So this was a fair and square.
That's what I'm asking.
This was a fair.
What was it?
This was a fair and square win by Hillary Clinton. But I think that what people are uncomfortable with is the fact that it does look like the DNC tried to put their finger on the scale and tip the scale in Hillary's favor. But but to your point, Joy, she was ahead by millions of votes. And the bottom line is, I think that the Democrats need to take Bernie's lead. Bernie came out and said this was wrong. Debbie Wasserman Schultz should resign. But we all need to get together, get behind Hillary, and beat Donald Trump.
And it's bad because the #1 thing people say against Hillary Clinton and the Clintons are, we don't trust them, we don't trust them.
But did she do this?
No, but the thing is, it kind of...
You don't know what her involvement was. All you know is that she has close ties to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And when on a 60 Minutes interview last night, it's funny, they asked her, they said, do you think this was improper? This was edited out of the interview and put in the interview online conveniently. But they said, do you think this was improper? She failed to comment on that. She didn't say absolutely. She should have come out and said, this is absolutely unacceptable, this kind of behavior.
She didn't want to jump her people under the bus.
You know what? She needs to stand for something. And when she's looking at her numbers,
like Donald?
Both of them. Yeah, but the problem with Hillary is people are saying, this point is great. She's untrustworthy. She's dishonest.
Well, what I'm saying is she may have not had anything to do with it. But
she may not have.
Right, heading into the Democratic National Convention, the optics of this
terrible
are just overall in broad strokes. It just looks really bad.
And Sarah, one quick thing would be, the other thing is that she also appointed Debbie Wasserman Schultz now to have sort of a ceremonial position in her campaign. Hillary did that. The optics of that are pretty horrible too.
No. Well, so let me ask you. So you're saying that no one in the Democratic, is it the Democratic Party? Or where are these emails from?
The Democratic National Committee. Like, remember? Yes. And
so this is like the Sony emails.
Kind of.
Kind of, sort of.
Because this is people talking to each other, saying, but again, I think what I'm trying to understand is, are these people having conversations in the email?
Yes.
These are people. These are people emailing to each other.
Correct.
It's like, don't they realize that you don't put anything in writing? Pick up the phone if you want to bitch about Bernie, right?
Right. Exactly.
It's true. So that's what I'm trying to understand, because I'm trying to understand what exactly was done. Are we seeing that people, as we've seen with the Republicans, feel a certain way, and so they write each other, and then it comes out. So it's the same thing.
They're setting him up to ask about his faith and setting him up for answers that might look bad for him. So rather than supporting him partially,
who are they setting him up with? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
At events and voters.
They were trying to form a narrative around him that his campaign was messy, that he was an atheist. Things that I think a voter might consider in voting against him.
So, like, when he goes to South Carolina, ask him, are you an atheist or are you Jewish? What is your religion? Stuff like that.
So were they... sending this out to people who were putting together the talkbacks?
They were basically talking to each other about strategy and saying, that was particularly with Kentucky and West Virginia, saying voters in Kentucky and West Virginia will be turned off to someone if they're an atheist.
So this
they're
needs to
religious.
come out, and
so
we
let's find a way to get the media on our side. And it was also interest in getting him to drop out entirely and somehow getting the media on board to ask him the types of questions that would make him an unfit candidate, which is totally unacceptable on either side. You can't have the RNC or the DNC siding with one candidate against another.
That's Hillary terrible. Is not involved in this. So let's just put that out there.
She's not, but she should be condemning it.
But the bottom line also is that the DNC, like I said, didn't vote. The people voted. And so I don't know that these emails had any effect on the campaign.
Well, but I can ask you this, because hackers apparently are responsible for the email leak, for this particular email leak?
Yes. All of them.
Yes.
And there's more to come.
Oh, and it's added fuel to a conspiracy theory that Russia is secretly helping Donald Trump get elected. Now, he has had strong business ties with them since the 80s. And people are wondering because, again, I guess Russia came out and said, hey, we hacked the DNC.
Well, they figured it out. The forensic evidence says that it was a Russian hacker.
Now, isn't that funny? Because when we were trying to figure out whether Hillary was hacked, everybody said they couldn't tell.
They couldn't tell, but now they can.
But now they can.
But now they can. Okay. I mean, I just find it odd.
That's a fair point.
Am I crazy?
But the issue is that the Russians, Putin, would like Donald Trump to be president.
Sure.
That's one of the reasons they exposed all of this, to make the Democrats look bad. I mean, one factoid, lawsuits revealed that upwards of $50 million in secret financing for a project in a Trump's project in Soho came from Russia and Kazakhstan. So he's getting money from the Russians. It's a big business deal he's got going, you know?
He also made those comments recently about NATO, which suggested that if one of our NATO allies were in trouble and Russia was the person going after them, that we wouldn't necessarily have their back. We'd have to see what they had done to us, things like that.
Loves that.
Yeah, that's true. That's fair.
I am not a conspiracy theorist, but I do think that it's very interesting that American banks for years will not lend money to Donald Trump because of all his bankruptcies. But so he has gotten money from Russia, and that is very well documented.
Sold by Russia.
Even his son, Eric, I think it's Eric Trump Jr. No, Eric Trump, right?
Donald Trump Jr.
But I think it was Eric Trump who came out and said, yeah, we do a lot of business in Russia.
He said Russians make up a pretty disproportionate cross-section of a lot of our assets. He said that in 2008.
That's significant. I think that's
something
significant.
that should have...
That's something
a direct quote.
People need to know that.
In his defense, there's no link that's been made between him and this. What people are saying is, though, the Russians may look at this and say this is an opportunity for us to get someone in office who has a beneficial policy.
We were just talking about how stuff looks.
Right.
This doesn't look
terrible.
It was Donald Jr. that 2008.
And the scary thing here is a lot of his voters are saying, I love, we want this guy because he's a good businessman. Our finances are in disarray. We need this. The problem is this is also showing you the lens in which he's going to view presidency, which is possibly in business deals. Rather than the good of the greater.
You know, can I just say, when you're voting, remember, don't vote for Comrade Trump.
Why are people talking? You know what's interesting to me? I just learned about this sort of all of this information about Donald Trump's ties with Russia and Russian businessmen. Why don't people talk about this? Why didn't we know about this?
We did not, but because people don't do their homework. Listen, I was reading a book over the weekend, or listening to a book, which has got an alternate universe written by Philip Roth. And one of the things that he's talking about when he's talking about the two candidates is he says, we have two candidates. One of them is perfect. Nothing bad has this candidate ever done. Everything has an explanation. It's all clear. The other candidate we have is a human being. Messes up, poops on the floor when you don't want him to, does all kinds of stuff. Now, to me, because, I mean, she's been accused of everything but that. So I figured I'd just throw that out there, too. But for me, it's like, I need somebody who knows where we stand with Russia. And I need somebody who I know. I don't always like everything she does, but I will tell you, she has never said about anybody I know, anybody of a different color. She's never, ever been a racist pig. She has never, ever. You know, there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things in the world. And Joy over the weekend sent me a New York Times article. It made me laugh.
Yeah.
And it said, "Is Donald Trump a racist?" I was like, okay, is he? And as the man was sort of laying out his reasoning, he had to come to the same conclusion many of us come to. You know, I don't like everything about everybody. No one does. No one will. You're not going to like everything about Donald. You're not going to like everything about Hillary. You're not going to like everything about Bernie. But if you can say in this arena, as an American citizen, I want everybody who is an American citizen to feel like this is their country too. Yeah. Everybody, you know? And if you can, and that to me is a big deal because I watched family die trying to get the freaking vote in this country.
You're speaking to the swing voters right now because his diehard population doesn't really care.
No, they don't care, but they will because, well, I tell you, you know, there's a poem that says, you know, when they took away those people, I watched them go. When they took away these people, and then when they came to take me away, nobody was there.
Yep.
So
no one said anything.
Unless you really take a good look and talk to some of the older people who lived through World War II. Talk to old Jewish people about the feel of this and what they're looking at. Talk to the people, talk to your elders, because they know, they've seen this. They've lived through this. And regardless of how you vote, please make sure that you do, because it's an honor to vote.
Agreed.
It is an honor to vote. We'll be right back with more Hot Topic.
Coming up, Raising Cain. Will Hillary's pick for VP boost her campaign or bore voters? Donald Trump and the Republicans went first. Now it's Hillary Clinton and the Democrats' turn.
The stakes are high.
And we've got your convention view right here.
You never know what's going to happen.
Whoa! Politically speaking, things are about to get hot.
Watch this show.
It's The View this week on ABC.
You know, so I'm supposed to let you know that the Russians have not taken any responsibility for this. There is someone who says that they are responsible, and some people say they have ties to Russia, so we don't know. But we just thought it was interesting and that you should know.
Well, his campaign manager also has ties to Russia, Manafort. Well, the whole thing is very Russian.
But you've been... And you see it from your backyard? No.
I can see the Kremlin from my house.
So you were out at a gathering.
Oh, I was.
And you were a little freaked out.
Well, I was at this dinner, you know, dinner with some people, and they were talking about some friends who they know, and these very wealthy people. I thought we were going to vote for Hillary. They're voting for Trump. I was shocked at that.
Why did they say it?
Because they're worried about their pocketbook. That's why. Because they don't want to lose a dime, I guess, you know. They don't want to do, you know, pay taxes. Taxes, you know, nobody likes taxes. Death and taxes, that's the inevitable in life. And nobody likes to pay them. But if you want the police force, you want your fire department, you want the roads to be, the roads to be fixed. You want your roads fixed. You know, I mean, you have to pay for these services. Yeah. The problem, people don't want to pay.
But it's pretty high. I mean, you know, some people are paying 50% of their income. And I have to say, if I knew where my money was going, I would feel more comfortable. I mean, our roads tend to be a little bit of a mess. You know, we don't have enough people in the police department.
President Obama recommended, he put forth, I don't know how they do this in legal terms, but he put forth an infrastructure bill that would probably cost the country money to fix. And the Republicans said, no, we're not passing this. They wouldn't, you know what would have happened? You would have created jobs, and those people who had the jobs jobs would then be putting money back into the society.
There's a reason
They'd be
for
spending their money. It's called consumerism.
The reason is,
and it would have stimulated.
Go ahead. The reason is that we're broke. That we have a huge national debt that's ballooning, a huge deficit.
We always have money for war in this country.
No.
Why is that?
We
That's
do.
a good point.
We do.
Yeah.
That's a good
because
point.
wars make money for the United States.
They don't make money for the people. They kill the people's kids.
Yes,
That's what happens.
But it makes
to
money for the United States, and that's
Your
why
tax
there's so much
money.
war.
You pay taxes, and then you find out that a ton of money goes into an educational system, not to fix it, but that repeats the mistakes. It's still broken. People want to know that their tax money is going somewhere, and also rich people in this country, and I am not one of them, mind you, rich people pay an enormous percentage of the tax burden already. And they're looking and they're saying, you know what, I'm a job creator. I'm hiring people. I'm supporting a business.
And
I am putting that money back into the economy.
I'm gonna put this out there because I get we have to pay taxes. I don't like paying taxes, but I know if I want to make sure some kid can eat, I have to make sure that I pay for some bomb somewhere. Yeah. I get that. That's how that works. However, the American people are taxed by when you go in and you buy food, you go and you buy clothes, you put on your phone, you're taxed. There are taxes.
Yeah.
There are taxes. We are taxed up the butt like nobody else. And what I would like, is I would like somebody to say, listen, you know what? We are going to have to raise your taxes. We are going to have to raise your taxes, but here's what I will give you. I will make sure that your, I don't know, your Verizon stuff, your satellite stuff is absorbed then by the state.
Yes.
Okay? You get a break there. Because here's the problem. If you live in New Jersey and you come across the bridge, they say, we're going to raise those bridge taxes. We're going to keep raising those bridge taxes because we got to take care of the bridges. They never take care of the damn bridges.
Yeah.
The bridges are falling apart. We almost lost one. You talk about the roads?
Yes.
57% probably of your land tax goes to schools. Okay? So maybe if you're in a school area that has really great schools, maybe you don't need all that money. Maybe you could send some of that money to the rest of your town.
Yes.
See, to me, the problem is no one is watching this tax money.
And we don't know where it's going.
Well, we do know where it's going. It's not going in our pocket.
It's not going in our pocket, but it doesn't seem to be improving. My question has been, you know, what Trump says that he is going to create 4 brackets: 0%, 10%, 20%, 25%.
Which is he going to pay in? Because he hasn't paid in any. He
well,
pays like.
We haven't seen his income tax return.
But we do know because he has said, I don't pay what I'm supposed to pay. I have all these tax loopholes. That's what he said.
But his plan is going to give everyone a really dramatic tax cut. and if that is true, I think that is why so many people are going to vote for him. When you look at Hillary's plan, it's relatively modest. She says she's going to leave income tax rates unchanged for all but the wealthiest Americans, and that she's going to sort of raise those by as much as 5 percentage points. And I think that is why there's this disparity. If what Donald Trump is saying is true.
Yeah, but business leaders in this country have said that Trump will bankrupt the country. Well, that he's going to lead to an enormous recession.
Just in case anybody wants to know, Sweden pays 57% of the taxes. That's what you pay in Sweden. Denmark is 55, Finland 55, Netherlands 52.
But let me read what they get for it.
But they get a lot.
I was going to read it, and then, Zimbabwe 51, Japan 50, Austria 50, Belgium 50, Israel 50, Slovenia 50, China 45, Germany 45, United Kingdom 45, from 95%, which is what it was in '64.
In this country?
It used in England.
95%.
Yes, people's taxes have gone down considerably overseas now.
Okay, but let's just take Denmark, for example, all right? They pay 55.4% in 2015. But this is what they get for it. Free health care and education for everyone. Free. They get job training. Wait, before you clap. They get subsidized child care and extended maternity leave, all free. They get generous pension systems and the fuel subsidies and real allowances for the elderly.
So where's our money going?
Does anybody here get any of this?
Where's our money going?
We're not Denmark.
No,
we don't get that.
This isn't Denmark.
If we are, in fact, one of the richest countries in the world, and we don't give our citizens jack
no, but
for
that's
any
true.
of their money.
That's true, but I don't want your taxes raised, because you know what? You worked hard to get where you are.
You know what, baby?
I don't want that.
This is life. Listen, either make it a flat tax or make a decision.
I support that.
Do a flat tax.
What I just read to you.
What? I don't want the government funding all that stuff.
You don't want free health care,
no,
free
because no, I don't. Because I've been to the DMV.
We'll be right back. Stop. We'll come back.
Password rage. How too many passwords can lead to login insanity later.
Please continue.
Yes, we were duking it out. And you're asking me why I don't want big government. And the reason is, first of all, this is the United States of America. It's not built on big government. It's built on people. It's built on opportunity. It's built on competition.
Right.
That's number one. And secondly,
it kind of has been built. Yeah, it kind of was built.
Government?
Yeah, it was big for the time.
We have a,
but
we have a very specific role for government in this country, and it's not to do everything and guarantee everybody's right of everything and to everything. That's not what we're supposed to be doing. And also, one other point I just want to make quickly. The reason is I'm concerned about quality. You can talk about free education and you can talk about free health care. That doesn't make it good. What makes it good is competition.
Go ahead.
And making people compete with each other to create a product. That's what this country is about.
Okay. If you have money, that's a perfect argument.
I don't have money?
Yeah, and if you have a majority, it makes
listen,
perfect
let
sense.
me explain. If you have no medical, and you are not able to get any medical, maybe because you've gotten older, or maybe because, you just find that you just can't keep up and you got 2 kids. No, it doesn't say we have to take care of your kids. What this country says is we will try to do our best to help you do your best as an American. The idea that that's no longer part of how this goes. I was a mother, I was a mother on welfare, Yeah. All I wanted to do was get off welfare.
Yeah.
That's all I ever wanted to do. And I worked my ass off to get off of it so I could keep my head up the way I wanted to do.
Right. Now, that's how it should be.
But that's how it is.
But you needed that little bit of
help.
It is how it is.
Listen, what you're talking about is limited government. You're agreeing with me.
No,
that's limited government.
No, that's not limited government. I'm saying when people need help, the government should be there to help them. And that's why that's why all of these things were put into place.
That's FDR.
Was to help.
A lot of problems with FDR.
And that's the thing. That's the
There's a lot of problems for you with FDR.
Me.
I don't have a lot of problems with FDR because I get it, because I know lots of people who don't have jack.
Right.
Yes,
I need.
And that's always been my struggle. People know I grew up in the projects in the South Bronx. We had very little money, and I worked really hard in school. My husband worked really hard. He's a surgeon. I'm a lawyer. We pay 50% of our taxes, and we have trouble sometimes making ends meet, believe it or not, because he owns a small business, he has a small practice, he employs many, many people. Sometimes we can't go on vacation, but I don't mind that because I want to help the least of my brothers. I want to help the people in the projects in the South Bronx have better schools, because it's there before the grace of God. Go I.
But it's not always helping them.
We forget to help people.
You know what? Go ahead, Joy.
Well, I was going to just speak to the quality of education that you're talking about, because I went to Queens College back in the 60s. And in the 60s, the Queens College had the same curriculum as Columbia University. Columbia University is an Ivy League school. It cost a fortune to go to Columbia. We had no money. My father's a truck driver, and my mother was a sewing machine operator. So I got to go to Queens College for $64 a term, and I learned what they learned at Columbia for free, practically. So I don't think that just because the school is not expensive that you can't actually get a quality education.
That's true, but when you
can't keep sending young people out with the debt they have right now, because now, even at a state level, you're sending kids out that there aren't jobs for them to get, and they're carrying big debt, and that is just not setting us up for contributing on an international seeing or anything. We're not getting our people back into our workforce.
The thing is, when you advocate for things like school choice, though, I agree with you. But when you promote competition, when you advocate for eliminating bad teachers, when you get rid of tenure, when you give people in low-income communities, no matter what their gender or skin color, is the opportunity to attend whatever school they want, and you inject competition into that marketplace, you get better schools.
Jed, you can't compete if it's not a level playing field.
You can compete. You weed out the bad.
No, Jedediah,
this is why we're saying we don't want to be Russia. We don't want to be like those countries. We like this country. We like the competitive spirit in this country. With just a little help for our friends.
With the competitive spirit, spirit in this country, and please forgive me, or don't, I don't care. You know, it hasn't been a level playing field.
No.
It has not been a level playing field.
No.
And it hasn't been a level playing field for American blacks, because up until, as I say, been saying, up until '68, we couldn't vote in the entire country. So we couldn't go, you know, people say, why do you have black colleges? Because you wouldn't let us in the white ones.
That's right.
You know, if you think that people haven't come in and taken from the minorities that have helped to build this country, who's had people's feet on their necks saying, oh no, we need what you're doing, but we don't need you. See, that's what I want to see change.
I agree.
And until we get everybody in the room together and say, listen, we know you got more money than God. We're not saying give us all your money. We're saying help us help everybody else.
Everyone. It has to go into the pool.
And so that's her point about the 50%. I don't want to pay 50% either.
It hurts.
You know,
It hurts.
Well, it would be nice to see the money. The one thing I will agree is it would be nice to see where that 50% is going to, because a lot of times we're not seeing anything get better, but we're doling it out.
I think people would feel better knowing I'm giving, and it's like,
Yeah.
We'll be right back. We've now come to the portion of our program where we talk about what we've done in our lives. So, Sunny,
only one person actually is going to talk.
How was your weekend?
It was really good. This was a visiting day at summer camp, sleepaway camps. So I went to see my son in Maine.
Right.
And it was wonderful.
Aww.
There he is.
He's
so handsome.
Thank you.
Tall.
Yes, he's 13. He's 13.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. I mean, I know that my father always reminds me that my job is to make an independent person, someone that can rely on himself. And he was having such a good time. I don't think he was really missing me. And
Why would he?
I know. He's water skiing. He's doing great things.
You ain't missing him.
I know. No, I was. I miss him.
She misses her children when they're not there.
I miss
Let me
my
tell
children.
you, this is when she misses them. Oh.
There's my little girl.
Where is he? There she is.
My little girl Paloma was like, I don't miss him. He's my annoying big brother. She couldn't get enough of him.
So
she
cute.
couldn't keep her hands
Did you
off
cry?
of him.
That's all we really want to know.
I did cry.
Okay. God.
I cry right now.
I know. I cried when I left because I worry. I worry when they're not with me.
Why? They're at camp. They're safe. It's okay.
I don't know. They're like water skiing and climbing things, and
that's the worst
She
part
said
of
he
it.
always skied on 2 skis, and I looked at him and I was like, why 1 ski? I was like, oh my gosh.
He learned slalom water skiing. I'm like, why are you on 1 ski? It's not
Why are
safe.
you there?
I know.
Why are you up there?
They invited me.
Remember that independent person story?
Yeah. She didn't. I'm telling you, she don't mean it.
It was very hard.
She does not mean she wasn't. If she wants somebody to be right here.
The worst part of motherhood to me is the worrying part. Everything else is easy, I think. But the worrying, the where are they, what time is it, you know, all that.
But you have to make a choice, because you could do that all day long and do nothing else.
But it's
what my mom
crazy,
does
the
all
thoughts
day long and does nothing else.
Yeah.
The thoughts that run through your head. We went on a ferry this weekend, and when I was trying to contemplate if I could hold Alec above my head and doggy paddle if the boat went down. Yes, it was a ferry from one part of Brooklyn to the other part of Brooklyn. We were barely off shore.
You start thinking all those things.
But what it does do is it will make you know where the life jackets are.
Oh yeah, I did know that.
You'll never wonder again, because you have now this other person you have to think of. But you know, it's kind of like Selena Gomez, okay? Because she's on a really successful tour right now. but after a recent performance, she posted that she feels extremely unauthentic and unconnected to herself and to her music and to her needs. You know, maybe she needs to rethink some of the areas of her life. You know, I say, Selena, maybe you just had a bad night. That happens. That happens. Because everything gets posted now, and then everybody responds to the post. Some nights are like that, where you're just like, you know, I feel like the biggest phony, and I'm a bonehead. Yeah. And then you go to sleep, you wake up, and you think, I'm so cute.
But what is she complaining about exactly?
She's not complaining. She just, I think she had one of those nights, you know, in performance. You have those nights and you're not 100%.
Oh, yeah.
And it might have been one of those nights, and she, you know, posted about it, and people said, well, you shouldn't really feel that way because you make so much money. And it's like, has nothing to do with it. I just had a bad night.
But haven't you ever felt sometimes that, like, the job that you're doing doesn't fulfill your needs, or you're not doing enough?
Right now.
Oh.
Because I have a need to leave.
Again?
We'll be right back.
My goodness.
There's nothing conventional about this. This week, Joy's taking us inside the Democratic Convention as only Joy can.
Forget about it.
And we're pulling out all the stops. Plus, we got your favorite stars right here. It's The View, this week on ABC.
I think the point that Selena was trying to make is that success doesn't always equal happiness, because she seems to feel unfulfilled in her...
And there's only one of these. Now. She just put this out the other day, which leads me to believe that maybe if there's a month of them, maybe that's true. But it's one night. You have a bad night, you had a bad night.
But what was interesting to me was that notion, like, have you ever felt, even though you're successful and you've got a good job, that you somehow feel unfulfilled? Because I remember I was in private practice practicing law for a little while, and I was making so much money, and I left it because I was so unfulfilled. I was like, I didn't go to law school to do this.
Well, and just to refresh everyone, we're talking about Selena Gomez, who posted something about feeling inauthentic and that she just was kind of in a bad area creatively and personally. Just, that's what started this conversation.
I think that's a good point. I think it has to do with the other areas of your life sometimes. I know that I've been, you know, I've focused on career and education, and I looked at, that's going to be my goal, and when I get all that going, I'm going to feel great. And then I looked around and I said, no, it really has a lot to do with who I get to share it with when I come home and who I get to tell about my day to. So you can be super famous, and there's a lot of criticism out there, and a lot of it for me is when I call my mom on the phone and she's like, you know what, don't worry, babe, or if I call my boyfriend, or that support system makes all the difference in terms of how you feel about what's happening in your life, for me.
Well, I also think there's so many times we step back and life doesn't look like what we thought it would, and whether it looks worse or better than we thought doesn't matter. It's that it looks different. So I think it's letting go of the what should it be, or what did I think it was going to be, and I think that hits you over and over throughout life.
Joy?
I was just thinking my father, when he worked for Coca-Cola, lifting crates of Coke every day, if he felt unfulfilled.
Right? I mean,
it's such a first...
You got to go. You know,
it's such a first world problem, feeling fulfilled, you know.
It's like, that's why I'm laughing. It's like, y'all really have a lot of time to think this stuff up.
No, but there were times along the way where I'd remind myself, I have to say this is a paycheck only, because there were so many generations of people that just needed to get food on the table. And they didn't have, like, when I think of my grandpa, he didn't look back and say, am I feeling good about this? He just worked and having a job.
Well, you know, listen, I just feel there are days you're going to feel great, days you're not going to feel great.
That's true.
Get over yourself.
Or take some medication.
Or take some medication.
Medication always helps.
You know, Marni Nixon, do you know that name, Marni Nixon? You probably don't know her face, but you know her voice. She has been the voice in so many movies, in The King and I, Natalie Wood in West Side Story, Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady, Jeannie Craig, Cheaper by the Dozen, Ingrid Bergman, Joan of Arc, Deborah Kerr in Affair to Remember. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about, is it okay, do you feel okay if you don't get all of the accolades? And then we'll show you something that maybe you haven't seen before. We'll be right back.
Tomorrow, Greg Kinnear is here, and he's talking hot topics and the big buzz around his latest flick, Little Men.
Welcome back. As I said earlier before, Marni Nixon, who is known as the most unsung singer in Hollywood, passed away at 86. Now, I want you to listen to this. Here's Audrey Hepburn's original singing voice that she wanted to use in My Fair Lady.
I'll never know what made it so exciting. Well, at once my heart took flight. I'll never know what made it so exciting. Why, all at once my heart took flight.
Amazing.
It is an extraordinary thing. Now, it was done on Broadway by Julie Andrews. Yeah. And then the film was given to Audrey Hepburn. So you needed to be able to sing to do that. So
most
that's
people
what
don't
happened.
know she was the voice behind all of those parts.
Yeah, well, great many of them. You know, you see West Side Story.
Natalie Wood.
Natalie Wood.
Yeah.
That's Marni Nixon singing.
Oh, wow.
So listen, so you learned a little something. You had a good time. You came to visit. We were glad to see you. We hope you continue to watch. Thank you for watching. We want you to have a great day and take a little time to enjoy whatever view you happen upon.